Good morning. Question for you. What do you love? I know some of you might be saying chocolate in your heads. I love, what comes to my mind, the first thing that came to my mind was that I love the beautiful sunrise that we had a couple of mornings ago. And it was absolutely divine in nature. And so our topic this morning is that I surrender to love. And I wanted to share with you something very important from the very get-go. And this is something that I learned from I grew up, and my Aunt Doris and Uncle Joe lived in Oceanside, and we spent quite a bit of time with them. They'd come down and we'd go in our pool, or we'd go up there to their house. And Aunt Doris had the ability to share a story, but she would start with the backstory. You know how that is, have to lead into it. And she would always lead into this story that she was going to tell, and Uncle Joe would get frustrated about halfway through it and say, "Oh, Doris, just get to the meat of it. Just get to the meat of it, Doris." And it's always stuck with me. So I'm going to get to the meat of this talk this morning. So listen up. Here's the meat of it. I put in our thought for the week that yes, these are challenging times. Many people are saying they're going to be glad when 2020 hits the road and we go move into 21. And it is. It's trying our patience. It's trying our nerves. And as I put in there, sometimes I just want to fight it. Sometimes I just want to rebel and say, I don't want to do this. And so this morning, when we are surrendering, I surrender to love. What are we surrendering? We are surrendering that small self, that egoic self, that little immature self that says, kicks and screams and says, I want to have it my way. That's what we are surrendering, letting go of, and we are surrendering to love. We are surrendering to, another word, God. We are surrendering to what is. God is. Many of us have heard that more than once in the last couple of weeks that we have been reading Joel. God is, period. That's what we are surrendering to. And it's interesting because our finite minds cannot really comprehend what this infinite being is, this God. Yes, we give it qualities, we give it love, and we give it joy and peace and wisdom and all of those things that we can try to relate to as a finite being. Those are the hooks that we can somewhat try to evaluate it or accept that it is. And yet we know that that's really not enough. And so what we want to do, instead of thinking about it and trying to put a label on God, what is to go within and experience it, to feel it. And so we want to release, surrender this knowingness that our finite mind has and let it go and just go within and feel the kingdom. To feel what is reality with a capital R. What is it really like? And we are in the kingdom. I will tell you that right now. There's no other place that we can be, even if it doesn't look like it. We aren't to judge by appearances. So how do we go into this kingdom? How do we go into this within space where God resides and love is propelling us? How do we do that? Well, to me, it takes intention. It takes an knowing that I want to do this, and not only do I want to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the time to just sit in the stillness, to sit in the silence, and to feel the love that is beating my heart, that is breathing my breath. And sometimes it can be very subtle. It'll happen to us, perhaps when we're meditating. It'll happen to us perhaps when we're not. We all know Thanksgiving is coming up. It's this next Thursday, right? And at one moment in time, this last week, I had a fleeting thought of thinking, oh, I should send some Thanksgiving cards out, especially to those people who are homeward bound. I mean, we say that, I guess, quote, everybody is, quote, homeward bound now more than we ever had been. But there are folks who literally are more homeward bound than not. And I thought, no, and it would be perfect to send them a card, a real card in a snail mail. And let them know I'm thinking of them. Let them know that I remember them. It has been said that you can't possibly love God that you can't see if you don't love your neighbor that you can see. So we are to love our neighbors as ourselves, and that we are to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And I know that it feels heartwarming to be remembered by others. There's folks that each and every one of you know that are sitting at home right now, that have been sitting at home for months. And maybe you pick up the phone and call them, but wouldn't it be nice if you thought about sending them a note, even an email, whatever it takes, to reach out to them? How else do we experience love? How else can we know what love is? I think part of it is knowing our neighbors, expressing our love, our concern, our gratitude, all of that to our neighbors, to our fellow beings. But what about serving? Giving of ourselves to another. And I will have to say that I have thought many year after year after year, I really commend and honor the so many people, now I don't know, that's probably happening this year, I'm not quite sure, but who would go to the places where you can serve people their Thanksgiving dinner, at different places where they have the homeless people or whatever coming and giving them their meals. And I know I shouldn't say know lots, I know some people that do that go and take their Thanksgiving and are serving others. I thought about it, I haven't done it. And then in San Diego, I know, again, I don't know if it's possible right today, but I know that I know people that have served at Ronald McDonald House. Ronald McDonald House is the place here in San Diego that has a housing for people who are going through, children primarily, who are going through cancer treatments and so forth. And they house the parents, they hold the whole families there. But I know people who go and serve the meals for those folks. And so I Googled it, actually. I did try to see if that's something I could do today, and I didn't see that was available at this time. But, so think about it. Give yourself the opportunity, though, to open up to what is Spirit prompting me to give of myself. Because, Spirit is giving all the time. It has given everything. We just need to have eyes to see it and ears to hear it. That's how we live in the kingdom. And so, I look at this and I look at the things that I have not done that I wanted to do or I thought about doing. And then I have to look and say, Gay, it doesn't do any good to beat yourself up over it. That was then and this is now, and I can learn from it. Our Science of Mind magazine this morning had the quote from Seneca. I had to look up who that was. I didn't even know. He was a Roman philosopher. He was born in 4 BC. And it said, don't stumble over something behind you. How true is that? Don't stumble over something behind you. Let that past be in the past. We can learn from it. We can absolutely learn from it and change what we are doing today and tomorrow. Can't change the past, but we can change ourselves in the now. And the now is what we have. God is. I surrender to love. What is now, now, now. And I can do it by serving. I can do it by loving my neighbor. I can do it also by being grateful, by being thankful. Thanksgiving is a time of year, yes, that comes up once a year. But at the beginning of this month, I ask each of you to start a gratitude journal, to write it down, and if nothing else, just make a mental note of it, like the sunrise or whatever it is. So I want to share a story with you from someone I believe most of us regard highly. And they wrote, one day many years ago, I was sitting in my bathroom with the door closed and the toilet lid down, boo-hooing on the phone so uncontrollably that I was incoherent. Stop it. Stop it right now and say thank you, my friend Maya Angelou chided. But you don't understand, I sobbed. I do understand, she told me. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Say it now, out loud. Thank you. Thank you. Tentatively, I repeated. Thank you. But what am I saying thank you for? You're saying thank you, Maya said, because your faith is so strong that you don't doubt that whatever the problem is, you'll get through it. You're saying thank you because you know that even in the eye of the storm, God has put a rainbow in the clouds. You're saying thank you because you know there's no problem created that can compare to the creator of all things. So say thank you. So I did, and I still do. I keep my gratitude journal and daily list at least 5 things I'm grateful for. My list includes small pleasures. The feel of Kentucky bluegrass under my feet like damp silk. Walks in the woods with all 9 of my dogs and my Cocker Spaniel, Sophie, trying to keep up. Reading a good book and knowing another waits. My thank you list also includes things too important to take for granted. An okay mammogram. Friends who love me. 25 years on the same great job. Staying centered. Having financial security. I won't kid you, having money for all the things I want is a blessing. But as I look back over my journals, 99% of what brought me real joy had nothing to do with money. It did not have a lot to do with food, though. It's not easy to be grateful all the time, but it's when you feel least thankful that you are most in need of what gratitude can give you perspective. When you learn to say thank you, you see the world anew, as Meister Eckhart so eloquently stated. If the only prayer you ever say in your whole life is thank you, God, that would suffice. Written by Oprah Winfrey. We are here on this earth plane, to me, to be God in expression. What a joy, what a blessing that is. To go deeper into love than we have ever known before. I read my Eileen Katie, and I wanted to share with you the reading of today. Always see the bright side of life. Expect only the very best to come about and see it do so. Never blame anyone else for the negative state you are in. You are your own master. It is up to you to reverse the picture and see what is on the other side. If you choose to see the gloomy side of life, do not expect to draw to you those souls who know the joy of true freedom, for like attracts like. You will draw in to you only those souls who are in the same state. When you are on top of the world and love is flowing freely from you, you will draw all, for everyone enjoys a joyful soul. Learn to lift a person or a situation, and never allow yourself to be dragged down into the depths of despair by someone else's attitude. You are here to create peace, harmony, beauty, and perfection, all the very best in life. So get on and do something about it. You see, we know these things, but it's when we do them, when we experience them, when we give of this God self that we are. And in order to give of it, we have to know it. And not just know it, we have to experience it. We have to be it in expression. Sink into it and allow it to flow through our being. And trust it. Trust those little nuances that come fleeting through your head and do something about it. So we are here to love ourself, this God self, to know it, to believe in it. We are here to love our neighbor as ourself, to love everyone without regard, no qualification, for all are God in expression. There is not a spot where God, love, joy, peace, health, abundance, wholeness is not. Let us have eyes to see that. And let us be absolutely grateful for this life that we have, right here and right now, just as it is. Namaste.